What's up, guys? KTOD Matty here, hitting you with that's right, three different deck lists for Grand Inquisitor. I think we've all been kind of waiting for Grand Inquisitor to make his mark. I think his ability is so strong, and the way that you can really kind of snowball the game and goldfish when your opponent claims has been such a powerful thing that we've been looking to exploit in set 2. Really given him a lot of tools to succeed. I think there's three different distinct ways that you can play him, maybe more honestly, that are a lot of fun and potent, that you can go to your local and feel pretty confident about. So the three lists that I'm coming at you with are a ECL Grand Inquisitor, playing more of a mid-range ramp deck, and what you're really going to do is exploit some of the powerful bounties that I think are a little underrated, and Admiral Modi. I mean, who doesn't want to just keep attacking with a big unit or a lightsaber unit? More on that in a second. The second list is a balls to the wall yellow GI that's really going to come out and throw everything at you and hope that they kill you before you can stop them. And the final one, which is a really interesting one, is a blue GI. And I've been kind of tinkering around with how I want to play it. Do you want to go more mid-range? Do you want to go more control? It has a lot of good early grit units to kind of get you through the early game, but then where do we go from there? So that's another one I'm going to talk about. All right, so the first list is probably my favorite list, and that is ECL Grand Inquisitor. This is a really cool list in that you are not playing like this super aggro game. You're actually trying to play more of a mid-range game, and then your finishing move is kind of cracked. So you're playing, one of your early bounties, and then cashing in on it with, say, an open fire or an ECL with one of your many 3-drops. That's why you're kind of convoluted at 3 between both space and ground arena, because you want to be able to cash in on a bounty hunter's quarry or a price on your head. Bounty hunter's quarry is really strong, but I think you got to try to prioritize a unique unit, because getting the 10 over 5 is like exponential in terms of what you can accomplish. And then from there, you're either going to hit one of your units if you need to take control of the ground, the arena that the opponent's in, say if they're playing like a Sabine or something a little quicker. But flipping a super laser tech and ramping with it is also like super good, especially against other mid-range decks where you really want to set up your late game. And that is using things like Darth Vader to pull a Modi, and then to kill Modi and kind of get your untap going, or Fallen Lightsaber on, either Grand Inquisitor or a Palpatine, just gets out of control. Clan Challengers is another one for your flip, where say that you are playing against more aggro deck and you need to really take control of the game, like after you've done your Bounty Hunter's Quarry and kind of stalled out their game plan. Clan Challengers for the double flip is going to finish them off. So you play your Clan Challenger, you untap it with Grand Inquisitor, you flip Grand Inquisitor, and you get to do it again. That's an insane turn right there. So there's definitely different angles that you can go. But one of my favorite ones to do here is to put a Fallen Lightsaber on one of your Force units and then kill Modi with Grand Inquisitor. I would say that's the top plan that I found. And you have ways to pressure them throughout the game with your Death Watch Loyalist, with your Fifth Brother. I wasn't super high on Fifth Brother in set 1 because I found that he was just getting like ECL'd and killed by everything. But when you can ECL him and take out a shield and kill somebody, he's actually been kind of insane. Which leads me to my sideboard plan with this deck. And again, this is one thing I talk about a lot in my deck building. But with sideboards early on in testing, I tend to have a few more extra cards and to see which ones I'd really want to go with. So I think that this is a really good opportunity to play kind of like a Force user removal package. I've noticed in set 1 against decks like Old Han, and Force Throw is so insane against them, so I really want to have that in the arsenal. And then against other control decks that might give you problems, I wanted to bring in Crate, because you are still able to ramp really fast between Price on Your Head and super laser tech. Um, and then pillage is just such a good card against control, to the point where I almost was running pillage and um, force surrender. So that's an option that you have if you're having a lot of trouble with control. And then I also wanted to try force lightning because it can turn off some of the more potent things in the game, like someone else's crate dragon, or the lurking tide that's been giving everyone a lot of trouble, which is why I also have Traitorous in there. So you really got to play your games with this deck and kind of see where it's having issues for you with your play style and how you play it, and then kind of trim that sideboard. And if there's anything that you think that should be in that sideboard or that you'd like to see in the main for your version, I'd love to hear about it. All right, y'all, this next GI deck is cracked. Triple Dark GI. Okay, so thanks to Justin and some other people out there, Triple Dark Raid is kind of absolutely insane. It's a complete upgrade, in my opinion, from Sneak Attack, as it gets the thing that you need to Sneak Attack. So many times I've had Sneak Attack in my hands, and I don't have the thing I want. I still think Sneak Attack is a very important card, but Triple Dark Raid is amping that up a notch, and your big target for this one is Ruthless Raider. It is a completely insane way to end the game. You're getting 6 out of it, and then you can follow up the next turn if you need to. Also able to get one of your other ships and hit in there for 6, which is good. We like that. When I look at this deck, I am really just trying to not worry about what my opponent's doing and just throw everything I have at them. One of the plays that I really liked, originally I was looking at Kylo's tie, and I was like, I want a 3 attack chip in there, but I mean, I can't really, untap him. But Asteroid Sanctuary has been insane. If you're, if one of the lines that I've had on the play is you drop Kylo's tie, you Asteroid Sanctuary, and then you're able to hit for 6 the next turn, which is really nice. Not only can you keep them from kind of racing you, but the ability to shield them up. And you don't have to pop the shield if they say play a spacer. So, if you go space, they go space. You can Sanctuary, and now you're kind of insulated there. You can even use Jedi to clean up their space unit. Keeping those shields on are really important with the Doctor of Vezin and Asteroid Sanctuary shields. So that's something to keep in mind for the plays here. And then using things like Guild Target and Wanted in connection with Punishing One to get extra untaps, and Django. There's a really good play where you can, use your Punishing One on your 4th resource turn, drop either Guild Target or Wanted, do your Dirtle game with Django, and then untap the Punishing One. You've got an overflow. You've either untapped more resources or did a little extra damage. It's a really strong turn that you can set up. I've been killing people sometimes without even flipping GI, which is kind of insane, because obviously he's such a mainstay in this deck, but just his front end ability is so strong. One card that I'm trying out right now is Unrefusable Offer. It's kind of that extra reach. You can pair it with Django. It's a tiny bit clunky at 2, so you got to kind of find a good place to play it in there. That's why I have the Wanteds in there, because sometimes there is a little bit of clunk going on, and using Wanted to kind of enable yourself to drop extra things is really helpful. But so that's a bubble card. I'm playing it now. We're early in the set. We are play testing. We want to try new cards, and we want to see how powerful things can be. Other highlights are, so Bazine is kind of cracked, and you don't always want to smuggle her. I think sometimes I've noticed people and myself smuggle cards just because it's free in a way. Like you don't have to make that hard decision. It's there. But because we want to be a little more agile, and we don't want to clunk ourselves up, paying 4 can be really tough for that. Now, if we already have things on the board and it's later in the game, paying 4 is fine, but there's times, say, against a double yellow boba or a Han deck, where you need to keep playing into the board, but you need to strip their cunning, their big drops, their Han units, or their U-wings, or their against the Triple Dark Raid decks. You got to get rid of their good stuff. So keep an eye on Bazine as a 2-cost spell to, like, the one thing that I like in this set is it's like I call it like aggro disruption. Like I want to be playing aggro, but I want to be able to do things like play a Bazine, or we're seeing it in the Raid decks, play a Pillage, which is in my sideboard. Is like you want to find out their big turns or your big pain point turns against certain decks and attack their resources on that turn so you can keep doing what you got to do. And then obviously, like in this deck, we have nice finishers like Clan Challenger. Job is in there, and honestly, there's not a ton of tricks right now. I had a little bit more going on, and you'll see Waylay in the sideboard. I was also toying with shoot first, because that's another way to keep your shields, and it's a pump. And then obviously there's an ability to play Surprise Strike. So Job is one right now. I don't know if we're getting the most out of him, but he is a very big booty boy at 4. That provides us a little bit of value, especially out of the board with our Waylay. So if you're playing the deck and you find that he's kind of lackluster for you, you can play the 3-drop that's in my other decks, the 3/3 Grit Boy, instead, and be a little lighter on your toes. Or maybe you find that you don't want Unrefusable Offer, and then you could play Shoot First or Surprise Strike, although it's a little bit tough to play both that in Triple Dark Raid. Not saying you can't. So something to keep an eye on there. But yeah, this deck I really like. I think it's really powerful. I think you can get some insane turns. And the Space Suite is kind of nuts, and it's making me wonder like what else, where we can take this deck. So if you make any changes or you have any feedback, I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, GI's correct. All right, y'all, here it is. Here's the final GI build that I got going on, and it is pretty freaking spicy. It is a Force GI build. Grand Inquisitor rounded up as many Force users and bounty hunters that he could, and he is ready to pop off. I kind of talked about early grit enablers early, but man, I really want to talk about Guardian of the Wills, popping a shield on him and chucking force throws at your opponent early can really just take over the game. If you're against a mid-range deck, they're going to have to make some really hard decisions. Do they want to pitch something smaller and maybe keep someone alive, at which point they can kind of still play the game, or are they going to get rid of their big stuff and let them keep curving out, but they're going to lose guys. Throwing a shield on Guardian of the Wills and following it up with Resilient for the untaps or Fallen Lightsaber. Buyers beware. Don't do that against like a green deck playing Traitorous, but is really strong early play. I was so impressed with the early force throws that I'm rocking 3 Pillage right now, which could be a little too much. But man, it was just so powerful. I wanted to kind of lean into that. So we have the ability to go aggressive. Early Guardian of the Wills, put some stuff on them, start attacking. Force throw so cheap that you can play a force throw and then say a scout bike, or follow up with a 5th brother, then hit them on the force throw. Seventh Sister found her way back into GI here because we want force users for it binds, for force throws. She's able to get around sentinels and pop them. It's always been her strong suit, and here is a good place to do it. Sideboard's kind of a little all over the place. I was main decking Deathmark and swapped it for the Pillage. I don't know where I want to be there. Pillage just seems so powerful right now, and pairing it with Force Throw is something that I want to try. The sideboard now is really just some bubble cards to keep in mind as you build this deck, as you play with it. We could bring Modis in for kind of some shenanigans early with Guardian of the Wills and Fallen Lightsaber, if that's up your alley. It's really up to you, but I was just so impressed with the early lead that you could get with Force Throw and with Guardian of the Wills, being able to protect him pretty well. Your follow-up's great with 5th brother. And then, Django's able to really pop off with not a lot of effort here, because you have things like the Client, which is actually kind of insane. You can like double bounty if you like are against aggro and just need to kill everything. And then for the top end, I went with Palpatine. You could also go Snoke. He's really good. I just think sometimes I want that overwhelm to finish people off more than just say just a 6/6 body, but that would be something that I would explore here. Another play that I talked about with the yellow deck, but you can, say you need to be the aggressor. There's nothing wrong with Kylo TIE Silencer to get in for an extra 3 with the security complex. So I think this is a deck that can kind of meld depending on what you want to do. It follows that aggro disruption plan that I've been talking about with Force Throw and Pillage. And it has a good top end either with Palp or if you want to try, say, a Snoke. They both fit the Force user package. You could definitely have in your sideboard Dooku's, to kind of curve that out. Kylo's kind of interesting with Guardian the Will. You could get a little spicy, but this GI is really focusing on a density of Force users to enable Force Throw and Fallen Lightsaber, and it binds all things to get extra value cheap. That's something we run into in some of these decks, is that they get a little clunked up, so using the Force package to get the cheap removal in those cards is pretty important. But yeah, I just tried this out against a green Palp deck, and he had no cards in hand really early, and I just beat the crap out of him, so that was pretty fun. All right, guys, so that was 3 different ways that you can play Grand Inquisitor in new Set 2 Shadows of the Galaxy meta. 3 distinct play styles, whether you want to be ramping and playing more of a ramp control style. If you want to go all out with Triple Dark Raid and a fast game plan with some good tempo plays, you can go the yellow version. Or if you are someone who really loves playing with Force users and throwing Force throws and all that kind of good stuff, the blue GI is also really potent. So I'm really happy to bring you 3 cool, distinct ways to play Grand Inquisitor. I know he's a fan favorite. I know that he has this untapped potential that everyone's really trying to get the most out of. So I wanted to throw those your way. I invite you to play those decks, change them to your local meta, to your play style, and then hit me back and let me know how they go. We just hit 5,000 subs on YouTube, and our Patreon is kind of popping off right now. So any likes, comments, subscribes, check out the Patreon if that interests you. Just want to thank everyone for their support, and we're having a blast doing this, and I can't wait to see you at the table soon. Good luck.